Welcome to the Daily Hunt. I'm Henry, and today, like every other day, we're going to be covering the markets. We're going to be looking at the overall crypto market right now, the conditions and where we stand. As you can see here on the chart, I'm looking at Bitcoin. I had Link, which is one of the trades I've taken recently, and we're also going to be covering the S&P 500, my stock portfolio, which is doing pretty well as well at the moment. We're seeing a bit of a pickup in the market because we have the CPI data coming out, and I think people are enthusiastic about the interest rates being reduced next week, and they're buying a bit early, especially in riskier assets such as crypto, small caps. And there is also a little bit of sector rotation happening, which I mentioned in yesterday's video. So you can go and have and watch that. But today, the main thing I want to focus on, first thing I want to focus on actually is crypto, and then we'll cover all the other bits. So let's get started. On this chart with Bitcoin, we're seeing a potential re-break of this zone. For me, this became a support zone once we broke it here on the 10th of July. Once we broke above, it became a support zone. We found support on the 2nd of August, and then we traded this move up with Trump coming out and speaking positively about potentially adding crypto to 401k retirement funds in the US, and overall there was some euphoria here with the market being bought. So we saw Bitcoin and the rest of the market move up higher. Then we found support on the 21st of August. It moved up, and then we found resistance. And the reason why we found resistance is we had a break of this ascending trend line on the 18th of August. Okay, so it's a key area. We found resistance of a number of times now around this area, and what I'm looking for a bullish scenario in crypto is a break above this zone. Yes, we can take trades from these bottoms, and we have started taking some trades in altcoins, which we think will do well, one of them being Link, and I'll mention a few of the other ones in this video, as well as a few that I've mentioned in yesterday's video. This is the area that I think is pivotal. It's important for the markets, and soon we could be getting confirmation that Bitcoin is bullish and that there's going to be a continuation in play here with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some other altcoins. The only risk we have at the moment is negative news coming out this week on the 11th of, I think it's the 11th of September, and then we have the 17th with interest rates decisions being made. So that's the current situation. We could also see another dip for a double bottom, which is a potential scenario. Personally, I would like to see 100 being hit, so a fake out 100, then we move up higher with multiple interest rates being reduced. But even here, it's looking pretty good for the markets. So if we look at the larger time frames, if we look at the weekly, we saw a nice bounce on the 20 EMA, a retake, and now I think if we move above 113.5, we are bullish again on the weekly chart, and we can safely say that we should be taking a bit more risk and positioning ourselves in some cryptos. On the monthly, it looks a bit overbought. However, as I mentioned this in previous videos, it can look overbought for extended period of time if there is a bullish cycle in effect. So right here, we're not seeing the RSI at these insane levels of 80 or 90. We're around that under 70 level. To me, it looks like there's strength still there. However, I don't think the strength is in Bitcoin. It's in the altcoins such as Ethereum, we've seen doing really well this year, and these other altcoins I have here listed on the side. So yeah, that's the situation with Bitcoin. I'm getting ready for a long position on this one on the daily, and also slowly buying and positioning myself in some altcoins. With Ethereum, we should cover Ethereum a little bit as well. With Ethereum, there are two scenarios here. I'm looking at the bullish scenario above 4.5k and the bear scenario under 4.2k. At the moment, we're looking quite bullish. If we break this ascending trend line, and then we can probably get a move up higher, resistance, a dip, and then a buy up. That would be the ideal scenario, and we're looking at the RSI around that 50 level. So it's a bit indecisive. However, once we get a bit of momentum in, it's probably going to start creating a bit of FOMO here, and I think we could see further buying. And we're seeing that in alt at the moment. But for me, it's a 50-50 zone still. And maybe we have to wait until the CPI data on the 11th, which is tomorrow, on Thursday. That's the situation with Ethereum. We're looking at the current portfolio that I'm holding. I want to start with ENA. Here you go. We've traded this since the 3rd of September, so we've seen some early signs of momentum kicking here. It looked like a leader, so we end up buying, and it's performing really well for us. As you can see here, slowly moving up. We were getting around 6% days. We have a couple 1 or 2% days. Overall, it's moving up. So what I'm looking for on this one is around $1. So we bought around 70 cents, $1. It's a 40% gain, 35 to 40% gain. We've also bought Mana, the Decentraland. Again, it looked like a leader, breakout. But I think capital's flowed into other alts. We've seen it flow into the likes of XRP, Solana, Link, etc. So this one isn't performing as well. But I think once capital flows back into this one, then we're in a good position. We're in profit. We can hold through that swing trade that we're looking for to around 40 cents or above. EIGEN doing pretty well here, holding up, showing strength. It was one of those initial buys that we had a few days ago. I think on the 5th or 6th, with ENA and Mana being the earlier plays because of the strength. So it's moving pretty well. I think we would have to see a breakout above 1.6 for me to feel like we're getting that weekly trend that I mentioned in yesterday's video. And we posted a short about this as well on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube as well. But here we're looking at a potential weekly play, and that's the reason why I ended up buying this, and I think it can move a little bit higher here once we break 1.6. We bought yesterday AVAX. Again, the idea here is we have a nice weekly consolidation, and if it breaks above 26.8, 27, we can get a nice trending move higher. And then on the one daily chart, we bought around this area. So if I draw the position tool, here you go. We bought around this 24 point something area. We left the stop loss quite deep on purpose, just to give it a little bit of room, and it's looking pretty good. And I think even if we get 30, a little bit of a breakup, it's going to be nice, nice trade where we make a 1 to 3 on this one, potentially more. We also bought ARB. We bought this on this bounce on the EMAs, and then the momentum has kicked in today. So we've kind of bought a bit early, in my opinion. It's not 100% ready. We bought around here. Okay. So the idea there here is we get a little bit earlier in with the momentum that's currently running through crypto, and we've had some other winners, and they cover any losses if we get flushed out by the market later on in the week. So kind of building early to protect ourselves from the worst case scenario. And on the weekly, as you can see, there's plenty of room for this to move to a 1 to 8, 1 to 10 if we do get a trending market, and plenty of room on the RSI as well for it to move a little bit higher. So it's looking pretty good. Link, we bought this as well overnight. So we bought around this area here, 23, 24. It's looking pretty good. And I think we're probably going to get a break above this trend line. So if we go here, get a break above this trend line, and that's going to be the trigger point for the market to move up higher. And then we bought Cardano as well. Some of my Discord group members, the paid members, they bought these early. They're quick, fast on these moves. Currently on holiday, so I'm not really trading as quickly as them, but we end up buying around this area earlier this morning, and it's looking pretty good. I think we might be a bit early here, so even if we get a dip, I'd be happy to get a dip and then buy again some more. That would be kind of my plan at the moment here. It's the breakouts that we get in, trading them, and then if we get a dip, we can add to the positions. So it's looking overall pretty good. I think we should also cover a little bit of the Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is going down. I think this is the problem here. So if the Bitcoin dominance is going down, theoretically we will be going up in alts, but I don't think Bitcoin dominance falls significantly from here, just because we've had a deep fall on the 1 day, and then on the 1 weekly, we have maybe a little bit more room to go to around 56. I think that's all that's needed for alts to move, let's say 5 to 10% overall, maybe 10% if we get that break below this 57 level. So I'm going to add an alert here just to monitor the situation. For the weekly, when it becomes overbought, we're probably going to get a buy up. And that's exactly what's happened here in 2021 as well. Okay, in May, and that was a final leg of the market moving bearish. I don't like the fact that we're overextended from the 10 EMA, the 20 EMA here. So yeah, we could probably get a final blow the top off move. Then we get Bitcoin dominance rising, and then maybe around November is what I'm predicting for a serious move higher for altcoins and a real alt season, if we're going to get an alt season. That's if we get it. That's the situation on the weekly here, and then on the monthly, as you can see, we're just on that support level, and to get the 2021 type move, we need this monthly level to be broken. So it needs to be broken this month or the next few months for us to get that level. And if we're talking about the November scenario, what I see is maybe a little bit of a breakdown here, a rise in October, and then a final breakout below in November, December, and then we follow through up to the summer. So it'll be maybe around May. Or that would be an alt season, and it would be something that is worth trading, and we would make some significant profits in the market with this potential alt season that's happening. So that would be the bullish scenario here, and I think it's either going to happen now. So September, I've always said this, September or November. It doesn't happen in October, in my opinion, just because I think either we break down below here and we go all the way down, or we move up higher, or retest 60, and then we find the resistance there with a deeper sell-off and a deeper drop in the Bitcoin dominance. That's the situation with crypto. Final bit to analyze here for crypto is the USDT dominance. Again, it's okay if this sits around here. And I think USDT is minting a new token, so it's okay. You know, it's one of those things where I think even if we get a move down, it's not the main factor. I think it's Bitcoin dominance here, just because crypto investors will usually either hold Bitcoin or move into alts. So here we have it. This is the crypto market. Now we can go into the stock market and the current situation there. We go into the S&P 500. We are seeing the S&P 500 moving to new higher highs. Okay, so we have new higher highs here with S&P 500 on the monthly. We have the weekly looking slightly weaker, but grinding up higher, so showing signs of a dull market. And then on the daily, we are continuing to look fairly bullish, in my opinion, with the daily. And I like that we've seen this kind of consolidation level here on the RSI. I think we can break up above and go to 6.7K. I've mentioned this before. I've been monitoring that zone since December of last year, and it's been on my charts ever since. So we've been looking at that 6.7 zone as the overextension zone for about 9 months now. The NASDAQ looks pretty good, consolidation. The only risk is the head and shoulder pattern, and that we can break this neckline again, but still holding up nicely. We have the 10 over the 20 EMA here, and we have price still positioned for a long move and overextension to around 24.5. The Russell holding up, showing a bit of strength with the expectation of interest rates being reduced. So again, very positive for small caps. But I think I just can't see this overextending above the channel. I think the channel's been holding up nicely for all three indexes, and I just see it maybe dipping down as cash flows into the NASDAQ and S&P, and then maybe another rotation into small caps. The VIX is looking pretty good. It's dropped from its recent spike up to around 19. So we have the VIX here looking pretty good. What I would like to see is the VIX move below 14.75, and I would like it in reality to move below 14 as a whole. So if we move under 14, we have a really nice momentum-driven move in the market, and I think we can see some significant growth in our portfolio. On the bearish side, I would be looking for a break above 15.6, or maybe let's say 16. No, 15.7, 15.6. That's what I'm looking for here. And then if we're looking at pre-market conditions, where we are right now with S&P, we can look at the US 500, and it's slightly bullish. But we're around that all-time high level, very, very risky. And the problem I'm having is we're buying really good opportunities that look like there's follow-through momentum, and then it won't last. It will last maybe a day or two, and then it'll be sold off. So we're having a problem with follow-through, and we've had a lot of sector rotations happening. One of them was a sell-off in the financial sector right here, looking fairly weak, and we've seen semiconductors also doing pretty poorly here, consolidating, but overall it's been okay. And then we've had NVIDIA. We're looking at NVIDIA here, consolidating after a dip. Some other leaders like Palantir also dropping off a little bit, consolidating after this huge run up that we've also traded in our Discord group. and it's kind of tricky with AMD as well here. See, drying up, and we traded this and made some money in this move here, around 50%. It's just a matter of finding that next opportunity to trade here, and whether there's going to be another sector rotation with AMD and Nvidia and so on. So that's what we're looking for. In terms of my portfolio and where we stand, I have IQ Chinese moving really well here. I have ENGN. Just it's very volatile within the day, but it's been moving really well for me and performing. We had this spiky day here, which I managed to maneuver within, and then we have consistently moves higher with ENGN. This is in the biotech part of the sector rotation currently happening. And personally, if we're looking at analyst ratings, we're looking at this. In my opinion, I don't think it does 21 now. It could surprise me, but I think we kind of go back to this 6.2 level. Maybe I take some profit off the table, and then we can move up higher to around 8, and then we take off some profit off the table there as well, and then let the rest run. Alibaba has been doing well. Yesterday was a nice green day after a bounce here on the 10 EMA, and I'm looking for 140 or above 150 would be nice, and then I'd feel a lot safer to hold this for a weekly swing trade. As you can see here, weekly swing trade has high potential, and then when it becomes overbought on the weekly, I'll look to sell off. But I'm thinking new highs here being developed to 160 would be nice. Baidu moved well for us yesterday. We bought it around, it was Monday 29. I'll just show you. It was Friday 29th. So since then, it's been moving pretty well. But yesterday was a nice pump-in day. We went up as high as 8% in the day. We closed with 6.5%. And I think, personally, my opinion is that we go to 118. We see there, it looks overextended on the daily, maybe even on the weekly. But I like this for long-term play if things are moving up nicely. The reason being is this monthly chart here. I'll just show you the monthly chart. There you go. Okay, so the monthly chart, it just looks really nice. We've just broken above. Yes, it could get a dip or two, but we have plenty of room for upside on Baidu, and that's why I like it. RKLB it's moved really well throughout the year, and we've traded a number of times. We've been trading this move here as well in June, and now we've kind of been holding this one just because we feel like it's. And when I say we, I say the team on Discord. So we feel like this will probably break above here and continue for final extension, probably. But we're managing the situation. We've had a bit of a sell-off on Rivian and Tesla. I just think these just very, very tricky plays with EVs at the moment. I haven't liked EVs for a long time. Tesla's done okay for me during this year, but other EVs not so much. So we've had Lucid, we've traded Lucid, and we've traded Polestar throughout the year, and it hasn't done really well. So Rivian tends to move early, and we've caught on early. I feel comfortable here. We're in profit, so even if we get a bit of a dip, I'm happy to sell for break even. It's not a big deal. And then we've had this, the Haynes Celestial Group, which I think I really like the consolidation here on the one daily. I think it's on the verge of a breakout, and then on the weekly, looks like it's been consolidating nicely, plenty of upside potential. And then we also have the monthly here as well, due a corrective move, maybe to around $5, which would be insane. But if we can get $2.9, we bought this around 180, we're making about 100% on this trade. Be amazing. And then we have maybe $5 on 20 EMA for that mean reversion play here on the monthly. So it's looking pretty good. I think this is more a sector rotation play if the market's not doing too well, but it's looking nice and is undervalued in my opinion. So if we get 2.7, we are very, very nice. And then this could end up being a really nice mover if something like 2019, 2020 happens, as you can see here. So when the market's looking for security. Okay, that's it. There's not much more to cover under the stock section. We're now going to be covering gold and other commodities. I want to cover gold first and the situation here. We are still moving up higher with gold. 3.3K was the zone that I shared with you guys a couple of weeks ago. And since then, since that break, we've done really well. We moved to new highs. And it's looking almost a certainty now that we're going to get 3.7 because we're at 3.65. So very, very good on gold and silver as well, following at a slower pace. We have, and if I'm trading this, I probably want to wait for a dip rather than trade it now, unless you're trading on lower time frames. Now let's go into the dollar. The dollar's broke underneath this level. In the previous video, yesterday's video, I mentioned how I'm watching whether the dollar breaks the 97.7 level. It broke it yesterday, and that gave me a sense of security to be a bit more bullish in the markets. And I think the dollar now needs to break. It's looking like it wants to do a downward trend all the way back down to 96, maybe even a little bit lower. So with that being said, maybe we get a nice momentum move here going into the Fed interest rate decision, and then we might get a sell-off in the market with the dollar rising. So we have to be cautious. It's positive for now. Whether this will follow through, it's something that we have to be monitoring day in, day out. And this is why I do these daily videos on YouTube and share snippets of them on my other social media. And you can go and join my Discord as well for free to see my market conditions and macro analysis. Okay, so this is the situation with the dollar. Pre-market, we're seeing Hang Seng doing really well here. So we're probably going to see Baidu, Alibaba, IQ moving well as well. Okay, natural gas seasonality kicking in. So natural gas plays will be doing well. I think we had, can't remember the name now. We have, I think it's LNG. Yeah. LNG was on watch. Nothing really showing here yet. But natural gas itself, if you trade the commodity or the futures or the CFDs, you probably would have had a nice trade. And we've mentioned this for the last 2 to 3 weeks, that natural gas will be a nice cyclical play because of the winter season and the way it moves after August. So September's already showing strength here. That's it for now. This is the analysis for today. We'll end it here. Again, I've been doing these videos without showing myself because I can't film content with video at the moment because I'm on holiday. This is going to happen until mid-October, and then when I go back to the UK in mid-October, I will be doing the videos properly, explaining to you guys maybe a little bit more detail, and giving you guys maybe more insights than what I am right now. But this is, I think, enough for you guys to know where the situation is in stocks, cryptos, and commodities. And figure out what plays you can make. You can also look at some of the ideas that I share every day when I share my watch list in Discord. And the way that you do that is by joining the Discord group for free in the link underneath this video. That's the other thing I'd suggest is you guys subscribe and follow in all of my social medias, because we will be sharing more content and creating more value for you guys every day. And it'll be it's going to be an interesting ride. So go and join that. Go and join the Discord. And when I say I share my watch list, it's not just a scanner and then I share them. It's my hand-picked list of 2, 3, 5 a day that I'm looking at, and I'm potentially trading 1 or 2 of those a day. Take care. That's it.